So, yeah, because I know there were a couple of people that had registered and couldn't be on here today. So at least a couple of people. So with that, I want to thank everybody's members who are involved with our Take the Lead. So we're glad you're here. But for those of you who couldn't make it, you're getting the replay today, or you'll be getting the replay probably later today. And just want to let you know that I am Becky with I Take the Lead, and we help professionals build a business by referral. Today, we're excited. We get to have Dottie Scott, who's the owner and founder of Premium Websites, as well as AskDottie.com. And she's here. She's going to be sharing what she did last year to track where all her business came from. She gets a lot of leads and referrals and such as well. But she'll be sharing the system she uses, and I'm excited to see it. I saw something similar to this that she did last year, and after that, I started taking some of her advice, like I always do. Although I don't always follow it to the T like I should, but nevertheless. Anyway,
and we talk about Dottie in meetings and some of the things she says to encourage people to come.
We hope we filter what you talk about, Dottie, about.
Of course, it's always the good stuff.
So anyway, so Dottie, I'll let you take it over from there.
Okay. Well, I shared with Becky earlier this year that for many years actually, in January, I have this exercise that I do that's not physical, it's mental, to find out where all of my leads came from last year that actually turned into business. So I track this in QuickBooks. You can use anything that you're using. Essentially, all you need is a customer profile that has a note place. So if you have that in your CRM or whatever, it doesn't really matter what you use. The trick is to consistently ask all of your new people where they came from and how they found you. So for me, the conversation usually goes, hey, I can tell by our conversation, you looked at my website. And this is usually by phone. And it's usually the very first contact I have with them, because they're calling me up and wanting information on getting a website. So I will ask them how they found me. And generally they will say, oh, I Googled you, or so-and-so referred me, or, I met you a long time ago in networking and I have been following you on social media for years and now's the right time. I mean, I get all kinds of stuff. Whenever they say they Googled me, I ask, do you happen to remember what you actually typed in? And I actually write that down with their note, because I want to know what people are thinking about to find me so that I can start adjusting how I write and how I talk so that I can get found more often in the search results. So, I mean, that's the geek side of me coming out. Sorry. But I actually do write that down. And if they happen to say social media, then I ask them which platform, and I'll write that down. And if they say they met me, I'll ask where, because I want to know, was it a networking group? Was it a chamber? What was it? And if they say they were referred, then I ask who. So I have all this information. I store it in my QuickBooks. And then in January, I export that to Excel and I do all the sorting and whatnot that I need to do in order to actually come up with a number. And I compare it to my annual revenue. So what I'm looking for is what percentage of my annual revenue is this lead bucket, this lead bucket, this lead bucket. So that's kind of a preface of what I did. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and let me know if you can't see something here. You should be looking at a presentation.
There we go. It's up.
Yay! I love it when technology actually works.
Works.
And I think if I hit enter,
Especially the first time, right?
Yeah.
yeah, you know, usually I don't do, when I present, I don't necessarily do actual presentation mode, so to speak. So now I got to figure out how to advance. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, let me do that. Did that work? Yay, that worked. Okay, so my first question, see my happy dance?
Yeah.
Are you guys asking your clients every single time?
I do now.
Yes, that's the key to this whole thing working. So if you're not doing that, figure out how to put it into your routine, your script, your whatever it is that you already have established, your workflow. Figure out how to insert that one little conversation piece into that workflow. You will greatly thank yourself. Okay. No, that was backwards. Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's try this again. Nope. Forwards, Dottie. Forwards. Yay, it went forward.
Oh, yeah.
So this is my overall data all put into a pie chart. And it's broken down, like I said, by percent of income. And I want to explain a little bit about some of these different categories. But the whole goal of this is this question over on the side. Is there a segment of your marketing that you are willing to give up so that you can spend more time in a profitable category? So I want you to just think about that question. And that's kind of my whole goal of doing this every year, is to figure out which ones are really working and where am I maybe spending time that I maybe don't need to be spending time anymore. So the internet for me simply means they said something like they found me on a search engine or Google. Okay. It is not including social media, directories, anything like that. Even though technically that is all internet. I've separated that out.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
that makes sense, yeah.
The next one, networking, we all know what that is, but these are specific groups that I participate in, which I take the lead is one of a few. Referrals for me is a referral from an existing customer, because I want to know what customers are referring me and how I can encourage more, either more customers to refer me or more from that particular customer. A referral from a networking group is put into networking. So I just want to make that distinction. Repeat customer is pretty obvious. It's someone who's bought more than one website. That doesn't happen a whole lot for me because most people don't need more than one website. Then we've got speaking, and this has a little crossover in it because I speak at networking groups.
Yeah.
So the only people that are in that category are people that I know purchase something directly from me talking somewhere. Okay. And then social media is only 1%. And so going back to this question, you might ask yourself, why is Dottie spending much time on social media? And I believe my next slide might actually answer that. Oh no, I wanted to explain internet. Internet is also anything from my website. It's search engine optimization, directories,
directories.
reviews is part of the internet. My Google business profile, a huge part of getting traffic on the internet, and then social presence. So thinking of the internet, everything is all kind of intertwined. And it's hard to pull one thing out from another thing because they're all really related to each other. So when we are talking about social media, it's more than just your Facebook account or your LinkedIn account or your YouTube account. It plays into all of these other groups. So if I were to say, I'm only getting 1% from social media, I'm just going to drop it. It's like,
Oh.
it's a big waste of my time. I'm just going to drop social media. Well, that means I'm dropping all the videos that I do. And if you've ever seen my presentation on where my traffic comes from, and I'm actually showing you that, you know that videos show up in the search engines, for me anyway. So that would be taking away a search presence. If I stopped doing social media, or I stopped asking for reviews, or I stopped doing any one thing, then that's going to take that one thing away from being indexed in the search engines. And in some searches, I completely dominate that whole page of results from different places, not from my website. So because of that, even though I can only attribute 1% of my income to social media, I'm not going to stop doing it, because that would actually lower a bunch of the other groups as well. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it all supports those categories. It's all part of the base that builds up to that.
Yeah. So the other thing that I'm super interested in
Oh, okay.
is which networking groups
Oh, okay.
have benefited me the most. I can tell you that these change a little bit every year, but this year I take the lead. Out of the 29% of my income that was networking, I take the lead was 44%.
Wow.
So that's, I mean, Becky, you know, I'll never leave your group,
Oh, right.
but the data is telling me, Dottie, you'd be a fool to leave. I take the lead because that's a big piece of my income.
Yeah.
And WPN is another big piece. And this is it stands for Women's Prosperity Network. It's an online only networking group. And I've met a ton of really great people through there. And I've got lots of business through there. So really, I take the lead, in WPN are the two groups that I'm going to spend most of my time at as far as networking time. And the interesting thing about the rest of those, so if you add those all up, they're roughly maybe 20%, maybe if you combine them all. They're all groups that I heavily participated in a long time ago. I have not been part of the DIY network in probably 8 years, realistically.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know you
Yeah.
were gone that long. Huh.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Well, I don't know how long Ronnie's moved away, but it was
See,
probably
at
at
least
least
6
2
years.
or
I
3
think.
years before she moved away that I wasn't actively going to her networking meetings.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do a class here and there, but that's a long time and I'm still getting 5%.
Wow.
Clark
Yeah.
County Leads Direct is local here to Vancouver. I've not participated in them. Well, I quit about 6 months before COVID, so 3.5 years on that one. Bridges, I haven't participated in Bridges in 10 years or more. The Urban Group, which I can't even, I feel bad, I cannot remember the name of this group for the life of me. There was a local group here in Vancouver that was basically a diversity group. Like, it was run by African American people, and they really recruited all of the different ethnicities, I said that word wrong, for this group. They asked me to come speak there once. And I'm still getting 3% from that one time that I went to that group.
Wow.
I wasn't welcome as a member because my skin is a little pale,
Oh, okay. Huh.
but it was a great group of business owners. And they're not around anymore, and I can't think of what it's called. But the
Huh.
woman that ran that group, her husband is a client of mine, which is what
Wow.
makes up that 3%.
Wow.
And the chamber is the local Vancouver chamber, which
Yeah.
I haven't gone to a local Vancouver chamber meeting for years. I don't know how many years.
Did you used to be a member there at the chamber? We did.
I did. I
Elizabeth,
used to be
yeah.
a member at the chamber. I dropped my membership probably 8 years ago. And then I
Yeah.
started to just go to the, like the red coat open house type stuff.
Yeah.
It never really did a lot for me, but I'm still getting 2%, not a lot.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that whole group, I don't participate in any of them anymore. And they're still providing a source of income for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the power of networking. So over to the question on the side, is there a networking group that you need to drop? Possibly, so that you can spend more time with a group that's productive for you. And that's a question I ask myself. There's a few groups that I've halfway participate in. They're online groups. They're not on here at all. So in January, I pretty much said, well, they're not being represented in any form at all. I'm not really participating in them anymore. So it frees up time to maybe shift that networking time into a group that's actually producing for me.
Just like me, I found chambers were almost a complete waste of time
Yes.
for
Hmm.
whatever reason. I'd go and go and go, and they just never connected. They'd use the local banker instead.
Yeah. That was my experience as well, at least with the local one here. I am a member of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, which is an online group. And I'm a member of that for other reasons, not really for the networking aspect of it. So I will retain my membership there, but I don't network there. So they're not in this
Right.
high chart.
Right.
So that is the extent of my actual presentation that I prepared. But what I would like to know, if you guys have any idea, how did your breakdown go roughly? I mean, I know you don't have the exact numbers like I did, but do you have any idea, Lynn, on
Well,
yours?
frankly, since COVID, it's all referral based, and it's all based on either I take the lead or clients and people I've met through I take the lead. And some of them are no longer with I take the lead, but those connections remain. So what you're showing
Continue,
there,
yeah.
even though those people may not be in the group, you're still connected to them somehow.
Correct.
And those relationships can be strong. I communicate with Warren in Australia 4 or 5 times a week. I'm in touch with him all the time, and I met him through I Take the Lead, and he's Australia. We don't have any possibility of business connection, but we've got that connection. So it's amazing the network you grow through these networking groups, especially with me through I Take the Lead. So that's really, everything comes through that now for me.
Cool. Anybody else want to share?
Well, I'm fairly new. My business is only a year old, and I'm just in the last 6 months probably I've worked Alignable quite a bit. That's a real learning curve. But I have gotten
It is.
I have gotten a couple clients from Alignable, and I've gotten a few more word of mouth, like just at church. So and I just joined I Take the Lead about, I don't know, a month ago, maybe
Yeah, no, Not too long ago.
maybe
Yeah.
2 months ago. So it's all new for me. So it's a learning curve, and but it's been really fun.
Since it is
I'm enjoying it.
Since it is a small group,
Mhm.
why don't, Lori, why don't you explain what you do so people understand? Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So I am a financial coach, and I help clients, primarily women. I have had a couple men, but primarily women is my target focus of. I help them to with the 3-month financial foundational coaching package to help them to really get a handle on their finances. And a lot of them are at a point in life where they're afraid. They haven't been the primary financial manager in the household. Maybe they've gone through different circumstances in life, and just helping them to get a real clear understanding and get a real solid foundation under their feet where they can really get a understanding, kind of go a little deeper and understand their relationship with money and where the fear comes from, and get a good solid budget, and help them to get to a point where they can have some assets to be able to invest and really get prepared for the future and feel like they have some hope and peace, and not just living month to month and just being afraid all the time because they're plenty smart. They just haven't learned, and they've just kind of limped along, a lot of them. And then there's others that are just doing fine, but they just haven't been able to really get a clear understanding of what's coming in and what's going out. And so we work a 3-month foundational package and go from there. And a lot of times the ones that I have now have stuck with me for growth and accountability. So we just keep going and check in once or twice a month. Coaching is it's like any kind of coaching in a sense where maybe you can, let's say you're starting a new workout plan or a new eating plan or what have you. It's just nice to have somebody to be able to walk you through the steps, and then be there when you just aren't so sure and you have questions. And there's several modules that we work through just to gain more understanding. And so, yeah, it's been really fun. I love doing it. It's just, the whole marketing. I had a house cleaning business for a number of years, and then professional organizing. And I didn't really understand. I didn't know about marketing because, like with house cleaning, everybody wants a house cleaner, and especially you get a couple old people, and then they're like middle schoolers. Their friends all want one because they have.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you've got 15 clients, and I never been tried. And so this has all been very new. Thinking, oh, I got to keep talking about what I do. But it's actually been fun. It's been a very good growing time for me, myself, and which is good, because when you're working with clients, it's nice to know what it feels like to be on the other end of like having to face something new and scary, and then doing it. And then I can use that and share with people, I'm 61 and I had to start all over for this reason or that reason. And it's scary, but we can do it, So yeah, that's me.
Cool.
Did anybody have any questions on anything that I presented today?
I had a question for you. I would love to know how you keep track of your leads through QuickBooks, because I use QuickBooks.
yeah,
And that really has my curiosity.
I know. Yeah, I have a quick, yeah.
Well, they don't make it easy, and they
Okay.
don't have the reporting capability for that, which I find is quite annoying. What I do is I've created myself a little code. And it goes something like this: the year that they first purchased from me, hyphen, where they came from. So like one of these buckets, networking, referral, whatever, hyphen, the name. If it's a networking group, it's the name of the group or the name of the person that referred or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just put it into the notes area that's associated with their profile. And at the end of the year, I export that into Excel. And because of how I do the little code thing, I can do the separation of everything by that code. And that gives me my numbers.
Oh, dang,
So
that's
it's not
slick.
easy.
I like that. No, but that's super. I mean, that's simple, but also very sophisticated. So that's impressive. I like that.
Thank you.
I might have to borrow that.
You can take it and run with it if you'd like. I will say that I have a friend that is an Excel wizard, and I actually let him do the separation because that hurts my brain.
Yeah, Alan's very analytical too.
That's
Al-
yeah. That's why I was like, ooh, the year and assigning a code to it is like, ooh, I could get into that.
I put the year in there for my own personal reference because I want to know over time when people first like how long they stay with me, if you want to think of it that way. And I just thought of that this year. So I'm before the end of the year, in a spare moment, I'm going to go back through QuickBooks because it has all of the receipts and put the year in there, because they do not have a report for when somebody started, which is another super annoying thing about QuickBooks.
Huh.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. So we have a electronic health records program. I'm like that code that you put in is like, I could incorporate that. That could effectively kind of become a patient number, so to speak. And when I run a report, that would be an easy way to track where everyone comes from. So I like that. I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
Just make sure you don't put any spaces between the hyphen and the word, because that
Okay.
breaks at least in Excel, that breaks the sorting.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Huh.
So now you know more about my analytical brain than you ever
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, Alan, what would yours go into, like a CRM program?
We have our EHR, the electronic health records program, and we can either create a unique like patient number, patient identifier, or have the system create one. And I'm thinking, if I did a year and a month, even a day, and then assigned a code to it like Dottie, I could have a unique patient number, and everything would still remain HIPAA compliant and everything. And at the end of the year, run that report where all the patients came from and accomplish the same thing. So that would honestly, I think, make life pretty easy. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yay. Let me know at the end of the year if that worked for you.
You
got it. Yeah, absolutely.
Alan, you want to just really briefly share about your bride's wife business?
Yeah, so we do direct primary care. So we're the simplest way to put it is we are primary care without insurance. We don't bill insurance whatsoever. Instead, we charge just a flat monthly membership, and that allows us to provide a far better quality of healthcare, longer appointment times, more accessibility, just better healthcare all the way around. So a lot of our traffic has actually come from, like Lynn was saying, internal referrals, a lot of referrals from existing patients, and a lot of referrals from networking. So I'd say not quite as successful as Dottie in terms of networking. I need to kind of work on that myself a little bit, but it's about 75% internal or existing patient referrals, or I should say referrals from existing patients, and about 25% from networking. And again, a lot of that is because I haven't been able to get out and network as much as I'd like. I'm actually in the process of changing that literally as we speak, just because the majority of the first part of the year here, the first quarter, was dedicated to changing software. And now that we have the new software up and running, I'm going to be off and running with building the business and getting out there and networking and everything. So, so I'm curious to see what my report looks like at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I went ahead and I put in the chat a link to a webinar I have coming up. If you are interested in exploring using video as a marketing tool in your business, then that's kind of what this webinar is all about, is the different options that that's out there for video. I learned a bunch of new stuff when I went down to the Social Media Marketing World conference last month, and a lot of that's going to be shared on there. So Becky, if you saw the last one, it will be different.
Oh, okay, okay. So this is available to Ask Dottie.
It's
Members.
free for Ask Dottie members.
Yeah.
It's $15 for anybody else.
Okay,
So Becky, you don't need to register.
right, yeah, because I'm a member. Batman, I can't see. I'm gonna
Your
make-
cat's helping?
Yeah, because I'll put that when I send out the replay, I'll include that, so yeah. So Joyce and Paula, did either of you have any questions, or do you already track clients, or do you have anything you want to share?
I'm pretty good about tracking clients. I ask everybody where they came from, or else usually, you know, somebody will say, my friend so-and-so told me I had to talk to you, that kind of a thing. So, and then the others are from a class that I teach at our local community college. So that works out well. So I've gotten, as far as a percentage, that's one thing I haven't done yet, is figure out what percent of what, you know, is really coming to me. So
Yeah, I didn't do that either, Dottie, and I forgot that part. I've tracked them
okay.
all, so I've got down, so I can figure that out.
You know, to be honest with you, Becky, the reason I do that is so anything that I'm doing that would consider a waste of time, I can quit doing and have zero guilt about it.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. And Joyce, what is it you do, Joyce? Of course I know, but
we just talked this morning. didn't
I
we?
know.
She has a
Long time
short
no see.
memory.
Yeah, so I'm a health insurance broker. I specialize in Medicare. So I help people enroll in Medicare, help them navigate through the maze of Medicare. I also do under 65 health insurance with our local state exchange. And then I'm helping small businesses with health insurance for their employees. I'm licensed in other states besides Washington. So I'm also in Texas and Arizona, Colorado, Florida,
Oregon?
let's see, where else? Those are the main ones. Virginia.
Not Oregon?
Oh, in Oregon. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I thought you were.
I know I was
okay.
forgetting one.
I was hoping Oregon, if you're in Virginia, Oregon seems logical, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I
Yeah, I'm in
referred her to
Oregon.
somebody in Oregon and she helped him, so.
that's true.
Were you getting worried there for a minute, Becky?
Yeah.
Very cool. So Paula? I don't want to put you on the spot, but did you have any questions or, oh, there you go.
I don't have any questions. It was a great presentation. Thank you, Dottie.
Oh, you're welcome.
Right at the moment, I also do not have exact percentages. Having come from California, the lion's share of my customers, and there was about 150 customers there, only 2 decided they wanted a Mary Kay consultant locally. The rest of them basically came with me. And since
Wow.
I've been here, you know, my avenue when I first landed and my husband and I bought a house was every person, the electrician, the people that installed various different things in the house, they all got asked, or they all got something to take home to their wives so that they would get a my card and a gift kind of thing. And so I garnered some customers from that. And then I take the lead. And when I first got here, I take the lead. There was no opening for a Mary Kay consultant in any of the I take the leads. And then, of course, as with many things, things shifted with the pandemic. And I just happened to be looking for networking opportunities after the pandemic had kind of settled down, and I take the lead popped up and lots of people were looking for skincare consultants. So I was able to jump on board at that point.
Oh, very cool.
That can be a timing thing. I take
Yeah.
the lead in one of the first groups I was in. We had a Mary Kay consultant drop in, a friend of a paycheck trip, and I think she used to sell for paychecks.
Ah,
And she happened to drop by, and the group was fairly large, probably had 8 or 10 guys in it.
Don't know what it is.
And she dropped in a week before Valentine's Day.
ah,
And she had a lot of things that guys were able to buy for Valentine's gift. So she came to one meeting and did really well. Hi, I'm here. You need me.
exactly.
That's funny. Good. Well, Dottie, thank you so much. Oh, Lynn, you, real quick, what is it you do? You've been a member, I take it 20 years, but what
Yeah.
else do you do?
I do chainsaw carvings of ice
Okay,
sculpture.
that's what I thought.
I help people with their merchant accounts. So I can evaluate and let them know, ooh, those are really horrible rates, or wow, those are pretty good rates, or somewhere in between. Find out what kind of service they're getting, and then they can decide if they want to make a change or if they don't need to make a change. So I've been doing that for a while.
A little while.
A little while.
Yeah.
And never convicted.
Yeah. I don't understand what that's all about. Why would you guys call me?
And Lynn's our resident comedian, so.
Lynn, I want to know if you haven't been convicted because you can run really fast.
That helps.
Yeah.
That helps. I know, especially with COVID, the police, because they couldn't bring anybody in, they've gotten really slow.
Yeah.
They're all out of shape.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, Dottie, thank you. So did you have anything else you wanted to add, or?
If no one doesn't have any questions, I don't think so.
That's what they are.
I just
think
really
said
like
5805, but
sharing
I'm not positive.
how networking works. Because a lot of people, they come into a networking group and they expect leads right away. And this is a long-term thing. It's, you know, I didn't get leads right away, but I'm still getting leads from things that I don't even participate in. So networking really is the long game, not the short game.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. And
those are
this
the
is one
amazing
reason
numbers.
I wanted to present this.
Those are the amazing numbers I look at when you're doing that. It's like, wow. But I see that people that are no longer in the groups, when they need something, guess who they call?
Yeah.
They call people they met through these groups.
And I can see it
I have a
anyway.
funny
don't know.
story,
That's
Becky.
weird. Why-
Yeah.
why would
Tell Jeannie needs
you
to go in
guys-
another room.
They said you need to go in another room.
So I don't know if you've heard this, but probably about 5 to 8 years ago, I said that backwards. I flew down, it's been about 8 years. I flew down somewhere south when Elena did her boot camp thing and she got out of boot camp. It was in Missouri. When I was flying home, I sat next to a gentleman who's from Texas, and his daughter was going to one of the Portland colleges. And it must have been like Mother's Day weekend or something, some long weekend. And he was coming up to see his daughter. Okay. And we talked all about Portland and what he does, his daughter, all this stuff. I barely threw in there what I do. When he asked, I told him. But that really wasn't the crux of the conversation. So fast forward about, well, that was 8 years ago. So probably 3 to 4 years after that whole thing happened, he called me up on the phone. I could not believe it. I did give him one of my cards, so he had that. He saved it. He called me up on the phone. He goes, "You probably don't remember me. My name is Andrew." I'm like, "I only know a few Andrews." I said, "Are you the dude that I sat next to on an airplane?" He goes, "Oh my gosh, you do remember." And at that point, he needed a website. So he bought one of my website packages. He goes, "I've talked to several website designers and they just seem boring." Okay. He goes, "I knew you. I talked to you for 3 hours on an airplane."
And you were fun.
So I'm gonna buy a website from you. Like, I mean, that's a rare thing. It doesn't happen every day, obviously. But it's
Yeah.
just from networking and talking to people.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Oh,
That's amazing.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, very cool.
So basically, are you kind of saying like we're kind of in, it's kind of, we're playing the long game. We just have to work, work the process, be patient, show up regularly, be sincere,
Yes.
and then just kind of let the chips fall where they may, I guess.
And
People get to
eventually
know
they're
it.
gonna fall in your direction.
People get to know you, they get to like you, they want to help you grow your business, and they refer people. It happens over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm amazed at how many people that aren't in the groups who've had career changes that I still stay in touch with. My buddy in Australia being a perfect example. In fact,
Becky,
when he
do you
gets
remember-
stories on Australian news, he always sends me a message. What's going on?
Oh, no.
What's the scoop?
Do you remember Diane Mandan?
Yeah.
She's not a member anymore, is she?
No.
And she hasn't been for years, has she?
Oh, it's been it hasn't been, it was during COVID that she,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, her son purchased a website from me last year.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, because Diane referred him.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. I didn't know you did his website. So yeah.
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 So anyway,
Yeah. Well, thank you. And that's exactly the way it works. So, yeah. Well, Dottie, you've been a member now for how long?
18 or 19 years.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty close to Lynn. So it does take time. It doesn't
Lynn will always be older than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
In more ways than one. Oh, and Lynn's birthday's tomorrow, everybody.
Happy birthday, Lynn.
Thank you.
you. So anyway, well, thank you. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. This was fun.
Thanks, Dottie. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I've got to go back and now I've got to figure out the numbers, and I know everything is working that we do, but I hadn't actually figured out how much, the percentage is, so.
I could do mine in half a second. Maybe next year it'll take me 5 minutes, well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. It was great to meet everybody, and we'll see you around. I take the lead.
Absolutely.
good.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dottie.
Thank
Dottie.
you. Thanks,
As
Dottie.
usual.
Okay, bye-bye.